This week in wrestling headlines, two wrestlers were named Hodge Trophy winners. The last chance qualifier set the rest of the field for the Olympic team trials. And which company just joined in the fight to save Stanford? Let's stop stalling and start talking wrestling. What's going on, wrestling fans? My name's Josiah, and welcome to Fanco Wrestling, your place for wrestling discussion. And there's a lot to discuss this week with these wrestling headlines, with the last chance qualifier happening over the weekend, with the Olympic trials upcoming in the next weekend. We have a lot to get to. So let's talk about the last chance qualifier that did happen over the weekend, which set the rest of the field with the top two from the last chance qualifier. This is literally the last chance for anybody to qualify for the Olympic team trials in men's freestyle, women's freestyle, and Greco-Roman wrestling. And I'm going to be discussing some of the big stories that did happen in the men's freestyle, because this is everybody who qualified in men's freestyle. If you're looking for who qualified for women's freestyle and Greco-Roman, you can check out the resources down in the description, as well as the great event photography, which I have by Ed Sanchez. You'll see a couple of his photos here. But some of the biggest stories here, you see this happen, but I want to start at 65 kilograms, because 65 was the most stacked, the most massive bracket out there. And look, with a guy like Pat Lugo, who is really just starting his freestyle career post-collegiately, he ended up making the finals but lost to Evan Henderson. Evan Henderson was ultimately able to get the victory and qualify for the Olympic team trials. But Pat Lugo then had to wrestle a true second match against Mitch McKee. Now, the thing here is, because it's the last chance qualifier and the top two go, if you had not wrestled the guy who lost in the finals and you won your third and fourth place match, you get to wrestle a true second match and have the chance to qualify for the Olympic team trials. And that's exactly what happened, actually, in a couple of these weights. But Mitch McKee ended up beating Pat Lugo for this spot after losing in the second round and rattling off 7 straight wins, even avenging a loss that he had to Keyshawn Clark. So great respect for Mitch McKee. Maybe he can pull something crazy off at the Olympic team trials, but absolutely incredible win. As far as, and that was at 65 kilograms, 74 kilos, Chance Marshall also looking phenomenal over the weekend. I mean, I don't know the last time I saw Chance Marshall looking just this darn solid. And he ended up making the finals, beating Panteliu in the semis, and then beating Vincenzo Joseph 5-0 in the finals. Didn't give up a point and just looked stacked. I mean, he's right now being coached by Coach Colette over in the corner, and something's working there. I'm telling you, something's working there. The one thing I was surprised by that at 74 kilos, though, was Ryan Deacon. Man, the kid just can't catch a break. He lost in the NCAA tournament. He lost here at the last chance qualifier, and he was like he was potentially going to make some waves at the Olympic team trials, just wasn't able to pull it off. Felt bad for him. But at 86 kilos, Gabe Dean, you want to talk about another guy who's just rolling through competition, coming out of retirement to then win the Olympic or the last chance qualifiers. He's somebody who I'm definitely going to be looking out for at the Olympic team trials next week. But he had wins over Drew Foster and then Nate Jackson in the finals, who he beat 7-2. And other than that, he mostly had a bunch of like tacks or at least huge blowout wins. Nate Jackson in the semis had a win over Mark Hall, which was an impressive victory. And in that, you got your top 4 guys here, Gabe Dean and Nate Jackson, heading to the Olympic team trials. Drew Foster and Mark Hall, unfortunately, did not qualify the way, but they took third and fourth. At 97 kilos, Ben Honus won at 97 kilograms. But to me, the bigger story here is Braxton Amos, the freshman. I guess he will be heading into his sophomore year at Wisconsin, who lost to Honus in the semis 6-6. So he lost to the champ 6-6 on criteria, but then came back and took true second. Now, maybe not as crazy of a story as a Mitch McKee, who won 7 straight, but as the young guy, Braxton Amos is somebody you got to be looking out for, because not only did he qualify for the Olympic team trials as a young guy and freestyle, he also qualified in Greco-Roman. Darn impressive. And Never know what he can pull off. As far as the other two weights that I did not talk about yet, 57 kilos, Sean Russell won from the Gopher Wrestling Club with a win over the number 1 seed and Zane Richards in the finals. He beat number 3 Darren Cruz, then went on to beat number 2 Jack Mueller, and then beat the number 1 in Zane Richards. The other guy here at 125 kilos at the big weight is Tanner Hall of Sunkist, who beat Jordan Wood to qualify. He teched him in the finals with a takedown and then a bunch of turns with like a minute left in the first to win that. It was a fun event. It was a fun last chance qualifier event, but now it's the big one, the Olympic team trials. We've been looking forward to this for so darn long, and because the event was canceled last year, of course, with the Olympics postponed, we've been really waiting to see what the seeds are, how this event is going to turn out, and the seeds are officially out. Now, I will be doing a full reaction to the seeds and some of the guys that may meet up in early rounds or even in some of the later rounds. So make sure you're paying attention to those reactions on the Fanco Wrestling channel. But as far as the seeds, the official seeds, which were released for the trials this upcoming weekend, April 2nd and 3rd, make sure to stay tuned to Fanco Wrestling for all the latest in the Olympic team trials coverage. But some things I want to talk about. Thomas Gilman ended up getting the number 1 seed. Number 2 is Dayton Fix at 57 kilos. And 57 kilos is just absolutely wonky. I mean, just crazy with, Seth Gross. You want to talk about Nick Suriano. That's going to be a wild weight. At 65 kilos, Zane Rutherford and Yanni Diakomahalis are going to be going at it again as the top 2 seeds, but 65 kilos, just similar to last chance, is one of the most stacked weights in the Olympic team trials. The top 2 seeds at 74, Jason Nolf and Chance Marceller. Imar actually just pulled out of the Olympic team trials, unfortunately, will not be competing at 74. But at 74 also, you have Kyle Dake sitting in the semifinals and Jordan Burroughs sitting in the best 2 out of 3 finals. So because of his accomplishments, he's able to sit in the finals of the Olympic team trials, and we could be seeing a Dake and Burroughs match. Oh, please. I want to see that. At 86, David Taylor and Zahid Valencia are the top 2 seeds. And then at 97, you have a similar thing happening, similar to Jordan Burroughs' situation, with Kyle Snyder, sitting in the finals. Jaden Cox in the semifinals. If that match happens, it's going to be insane. But number 1 and number 2 seed leading up to that is Colin Moore and Hayden Zilmer. And at 125 kilos, Nick Gwiazdowski and Gable Stevenson. Gwiazdowski ends up getting that seed because of his accomplishments in qualifying that weight for the United States. But Gable Stevenson, oh boy. Let me just say, with him at number 2 and Mason Paris at number 3, that's setting up an incredible match again between those two guys. And speaking of Gable Stevenson, the Hodge Trophy winners were announced. And yes, I did say winners because there are 2 of them. Spencer Lee and Gable Stevenson both won the Hodge Trophy this year. Great respect from both these guys for each other, and honestly, as there should be, with how great each of these competitors are in their individual fields at 125 pounds and at heavyweight, respectively. Now, this is the first time that this has happened where 2 guys have won since 2001, when Nick Ackerman shared the title with Cale Sanderson. Ackerman was a D3 wrestler, I believe is where he was, and ended up winning the Hodge Trophy. And I'm surprised. I'll get into some of their stats and why it could have happened, who voted for it. And you see, like I said, they're showing great respect for each other. But really, we couldn't have had one Hodge Trophy winner. You couldn't decide. I find a very hard reason to believe that there was not one Hodge Trophy winner. Now listen, congratulations to both these guys, and each of these guys would have been deserving, and that's kind of my point, is whether you were going to choose Spencer Lee or whether you were going to choose Gable Stevenson, let's see one winner. I'm saying what the wrestling community is thinking. Congratulations to them both, but I'm saying what everybody's thinking. Now, the Hodge voting committee is made up of past winners, retired college coaches, select national wrestling media, as well as a fan vote. And interestingly enough, in the fan vote, Spencer Lee won by a 20,000 vote margin over Gable Stevenson, which is just kind of crazy because the fans weren't allowed to vote for 2 guys. So why was the committee able to tie it up? Anyway, Spencer Lee both these guys were undefeated. Each of them had over an 80% bonus point percentage. Spencer Lee actually had a 92% bonus point percentage. Spencer Lee won his third title. Gable Steveson won his first. And for Spencer, it's his second straight Hodge Trophy victory. For Gable, he's the fourth ever heavyweight. So, I mean, just awesome stats, awesome accomplishments by both of these guys. Congratulations to them both. But if you had to choose one, who would you have picked? And then this company, this is a fun segment, a fun little topic here, because this one company just joined in the fight to save Stanford wrestling. Of course, it's been a huge thing that's been happening over the past year with Stanford dropping their wrestling program. Absolutely ridiculous, horrible decision. But Sticker Mule decided to join in the fight, saying they're going to give $500 to one person who retweets an agreement that Stanford must reverse their very mean and short-sighted decision to cut the wrestling program. They were tweeted out again later on, saying $500 again to an agreement that a wrestle-off between the Stanford wrestling team and the meanies who cut the program would be a bigger pay-per-view draw than Ben Askren versus Jake Paul. That's an interesting upcoming pay-per-view card, but listen, I'm not on Twitter, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not even on it, but I'm on it for certain things with work, and I did see this tweet, and it was awesome. I mean, awesome to see Sticker Mule, and I don't know if Sticker Mule is necessarily run by a wrestler. I mean, it seems like it would be, or at least the account is run by some sort of wrestler. But listen, Sticker Mule, phenomenal company. That's actually the company that I use to make all my stickers. And now seeing them join in the fight to help save Stanford wrestling, to at least get the mission out there even more that we need Stanford wrestling now more than ever, with Shane Griffith just winning the national title, with Stanford sweeping the Pac-12 awards. I mean, they swept them. Wrestler of the Year, Shane Griffith. Freshman of the Year, Jaden Avis. Coach of the Year, Jason Borelli. Swept them. And Sticker Mule's in agreement. I actually have a link down below if you're interested in supporting Sticker Mule, just showing them your support. But Stanford's also on the prowl this weekend, and really have been since the national tournament ended. Like, even more, like, attack style tweets than usual, and I mean, to be honest, I see no problem with it, but they're really fighting back and just saying tweets like, they told us it was due to finances and competitive excellence. We raised over $12 million, enough to endow all of our operating expenses into perpetuity. Oh, and we had an NCAA champ last weekend. The administration still refuses to reconsider. This is one of the worst decisions to happen in wrestling in the last couple of years. I mean, it's horrible to see these programs down, like in Eastern Michigan, an Old Dominion, a Fresno, and now Stanford. But I do like to see that there are other companies joining in the fight to help save Stanford wrestling. Now, if you're interested in more wrestling headlines, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you're updated weekly on everything going on in the world of wrestling news. And this upcoming weekend is going to be a huge one with the Olympic team trials happening on April 2nd and 3rd. How excited are you to find out who will be representing the United States of America at the Olympics in 2021?